The news today, obviously the big news, Warren Buffett disclosed yesterday that he has prostate cancer, very early stages, he can survive it. But what does this mean for Berkshire Hathaway? What does this mean for the future of the company? Joann Lublin is here to talk about that. That was a lot to get through. How are you?
I'm fine.
So, you know, obviously, look, the real story is Warren Buffett and his health, right?
Correct.
But we've talked about that here right now. We're going to talk about how this affects Berkshire Hathaway, how this affects the company, how this affects who is going to be the next CEO, which apparently Warren Buffett knows, but no one else knows.
Yeah, I think that's the real critical issue here. He has not even informed who his front runner is. He has said he has 3 people he's identified as potential successors, one of whom he considers the likely person, and he not only hasn't told that person, but he hasn't told the world. And so the question is, does he have an obligation, given that he's Warren Buffett and now in ill health, to maybe move beyond that position? I think so, from a governance standpoint.
Right. Yeah, and Joann, does this put any kind of a pall over, we're going into, what they call the Woodstock of capitalism, the Berkshire annual meeting, and 30,000 people are going to descend on beautiful Omaha to celebrate this. Does this change the tenor of this upcoming meeting?
I don't think it really will, given that this is very early stage cancer. It's highly treatable. Men of that age often don't even get the test that turns up this kind of cancer because it's such slow growing. I gather it's almost correctable in almost every case. I think he will perhaps mention it, and then he will move on, just as he treated his announcement yesterday. I think the bigger issue is, shouldn't succession be more front and center here?
Yeah, and to that end, the shareholders didn't react too badly yesterday. The stock was down after hours. Not exactly sure where it is right now.
It's down 1,000. The A shares are down about $1,300, which
sounds like a tremendous amount.
Which is 1%.
Joanne's laughing because we all know it's really not. It seems like shareholders have usually given Warren Buffett a pass on just about everything. Do you think they will continue that, or are we going to see a shift in tone?
I think unless his health gets seriously worse, and it will at some point, we're all mortal, I think they are going to give him a pass on this. Number one, because he's Warren Buffett, and number two, because of the nature of the disease he has. And also, to his credit, he was very prompt in disclosure. According to the news reports, he got this diagnosis less than a week ago and let the world know. That hasn't always been the case for other CEOs, as we know.
Right. Joann, does this change things at the rest of corporate America? I mean, is there going to be more shareholder activism saying, we want to know our CEO's, not only his health, the quality of his health right now, but also really front and center with succession plans?
I think at the end of the day, it becomes a board prerogative, and therefore, even if shareholders would like to see more information about who is the likely next CEO or whether the CEO is sick, at the end of the day, the boards feel that that is something that they get to determine, is that material information or not. I don't see this incident with Warren changing that attitude among institutional shareholders.
One more thing I just want to mention, it's interesting because the last 2 high-profile health issues related to CEOs, Steve Jobs and Warren Buffett. Yeah. I mean, both men who had adoring cult-like followings. Will it be different if it's not the next one that comes up? If it's not someone of that stature, will it be different for that person? You're talking about a governance standpoint. I mean, will we start to see a change here?
We could, depending on, like you said, how closely identified the CEO is, either with the identity and the brand of the company or with the company's turnaround. So, for instance, when Mr. Ben Moshe at AIG was diagnosed with cancer, he didn't feel it was anyone's business to tell them what kind of cancer he has. And to this day, it has not been publicly disclosed what kind of cancer he has. And the shareholders don't seem to have really cared.